Marc Trestman and Phil Emery were fired, and we heard from George McCaskey and Ted Phillips. And Arthur, the big news, the Bears have hired Ernie Accorsi to be the consultant in the search for a GM head coach. I think something a lot of Bears fans wanted them to do. They get a football guy to kind of be in charge of this entire process.
It's a football guy with an impressive track record, has been a general manager with several NFL teams, was responsible for the hiring of Tom Coughlin, who went on to win a pair of Super Bowls with the Giants, most recently consulted the Panthers in the firing of Marty Herney. And while both George McCaskey and Ted Phillips said that they've learned a lot over the past 3 years, they said they felt very comfortable leaning on Accorsi from the NFL advisory panel.
Strong connections Ernie Accorsi has with the New York Giants, a team very well respected for the way they handle things, good player personnel department, so we'll see how his role helps in this GM head coach search. And Jeff, one of the most interesting and revealing parts of the entire day was when George McCaskey was asked about his mother, Virginia, and he said she's pissed off. He took a lot of time to think and to carefully construct his words, but there was some emotion there, and you really could see how this entire season has hurt the McCaskey family.
Yeah, and I thought that, like you said, it was very telling just because up until that point, George McCaskey had been very stoic, and it was all business all the time with him. And then with one question, all of a sudden he had to collect his emotions, and you could tell in talking about his mother how painful this has been, not only on him but on their family, and how much she wants to see this team win. She said, he said that she's been on this earth for 8 of the 9 Bears championships, and she wants more.
91 years old, and she wants another Super Bowl in Chicago. Arthur, some other news that broke, Aaron Kromer had his contract terminated. Not a surprise, but what's interesting is the entire coaching staff and the personnel staff are still under contract. The ones that have contracts, nobody else is fired. I think we all pretty much know a big reason Aaron Kromer was fired, not just the way the offense played, but they said he was not fired for cause. What do you make of the fact that this whole defensive staff and a lot of the offensive assistants, personnel, scouts are still on board right now?
Well, there's some talented assistants, no question, but I think there's also a lot of lame ducks at this point. These guys probably know their fate already, but it does give the opportunity for the new regime to sort of pick and choose if they want to retain any of them. And then Ted Phillips also went out of his way to say that if other opportunities do arise from other NFL teams, they're going to encourage the remaining personnel staff and coaching staff to go explore those opportunities, which is obviously a good thing. It's a classy move.
So any of the fans out there who are clamoring for Mel Tucker's firing will have to wait a little bit longer. We'll see. Although the defense certainly played well down the stretch. And Jeff, will end with this. I think a lot of Bears fans were curious to see how George McCaskey and Ted Phillips handle this. Obviously, these guys aren't football people. They're business people. And it was an interesting press conference, to say the least. This is a big, sweeping move that we haven't seen from this franchise. What did you think of the way the two of them handled the entire situation?
I think they handled it about as well as they could. Obviously, they both said this is a difficult decision for the organization to get rid of Marc Trestman and Phil Emery. But at the same time, I think that, based on what McCaskey said, they're tired of losing, and they're tired of not playing well in the division. And, they want to get things back on the right track. And I think that they're committed to getting the right person, right people in here. And, they said, we'll wait as long as we need to, or we'll do it as fast as we can. So, I think it was interesting.
Well, for the second time in just a couple of years, the Bears will be searching for a head coach, and the second time in 3 years, a general manager. And we found out how it's all going to begin after hearing from George McCaskey and Ted Phillips today at Halas Hall. That'll do it for us. For all the best coverage of everything going on with the Chicago Bears, be sure to stick here at ChicagoFootball.com.